All right, guys, so we're starting 1-4 today. It's called literal equations, and basically this is the exact same things that we've been doing, distribution, moving things from one side to the other. It's just that now we're going to be dealing with all variables, well, mostly. And I know that can be scary, but guys, it's the same processes as we've been doing. So we're going to start off with 2x plus 5 equals 9, okay? And if you look to the right of that, you say ax plus b equals y. It's like I replaced 2, 5, and 9 with a, b, and y, and we're basically going to do the same thing. Our goal is to solve them for x, okay? So let's look at 2x plus 5 equals 9. No distribution needed. Again, we always want to start with addition and subtraction if we can, and I'm going to move that plus 5 by subtracting 5 from both sides. Remember, x is on one side, numbers on the other. So now I have 2x, the 5's cancel, and I have 9 minus 5, which is 4. So that wasn't so bad. Now to undo this multiplication, I do division, and I divide by whatever I don't want to keep over there. So in this case, it's just 2. 2 divided by 2 cancels, leaves me x equals 4 divided by 2 is 2. Now if you can do that, you can do the other one. Ax plus b equals y, we can solve that for x as well. So over here, the b is kind of like where the plus 5 was. Well, over there, we subtracted b, or negative 5 from both sides, so we're just going to subtract b from both sides. Same exact process, okay? The goal is to get x by itself. So I have ax left on the left. The b's cancel. Now, I can't combine y's with b's, so I can just say that's y minus b, okay? So not a very hard concept. I just moved it. Remember, you can only combine variables that are the same. Now the last thing I have is a is multiplied by x, so I need to move that a to the other side. So I'm going to use division because that undoes multiplication. But guys, you have to divide every term on the other side by that, okay? The y divided by a and the negative b divided by a. Well, the a's cancel. I have x equals, well, I have y over a minus b over a. Since none of them shared any variables, I can't combine anything. Now, that is the answer, and I will take that. That's perfectly fine, but you could also say that's the same as y minus b over a, okay? Probably this one will be the more comfortable way, so you can just keep it at that. So, guys, that's all there is to it. Now, we're going to work through several of these problems, and I can guarantee you that as we go throughout the year, you're going to see these problems again, okay? Solving little literal equations is very important. So the first thing I'd say on number 1 says solve the equation for y. Make sure you're solving for the variable it asks you. It would be horrible if you went through this whole problem solving for x just to get it wrong because you didn't read the directions. So I'm going to go ahead and know this is what I want to keep over there, okay? So I have this negative 5x, and I don't want it with the y. So again, I can just add 5x to the other side. Now I'm going to add a little blurb in here, guys, because I don't want you to get confused. We're solving for y. So that whole negative 5x thing is just a number. We're moving it all together. Had something been attached to that y, that's when we'd multiply or divide. Well, the negative 5x plus 5x cancels and leaves me just y. So this is the only step we have to do. I have negative 56 plus 5x. Well, they won't mesh together, so I'm just going to say negative 56 plus 5x. And guys, y is all by itself. You're finished. So some of these will be very quick and easy. Just remember the steps that we used when there were actually numbers. Because remember, variables are just numbers. We just don't know what it is yet. Let's look at number 2. Number 2 is a very common problem because it's the perimeter formula of a rectangular square. 2 times the lengths plus 2 times the widths equals perimeter. So P equals 2L plus 2W. I'm going to go ahead and circle that I am solving for W, okay? So I need to look at this equation. P is already over on the other side of the equal sign, so it can stay. But the other thing that needs to move is 2L. To move 2L, I can subtract it from both sides. Now, P minus 2L won't combine, so I'm going to write P minus 2L equals, well, 2L minus 2L cancels, and that leaves us with just 2W. Now, I need W all by itself, but it's connected to 2 by multiplication, so we divide both sides by 2. Remember, it's every term by 2. So now that I've divided both sides by 2, I have P divided by 2. But if I look here, I still have minus, but the 2's cancel out, and I'm left with L. And that equals, since the 2's cancel out, W. Now that one is kind of complicated looking, but you saw none of the steps are really that hard. We subtracted something from both sides, we divided by the number we needed to, and then we simplified. All right? So let's go ahead and go to the next page. We're getting a little more complicated as we go. This one's really not bad, but there's something we haven't seen today that we've seen for at least 2 days of class, and that's distribution. I have A equals P times 1 plus RT. We want to solve it for R. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I remember that. Now, here we're going to have to distribute P over these parentheses. We've got to do it first. So I have A equals, well guys, P times 1 is just 1P or P. But now I have P times R times T. Guys, it could be 100 variables multiplied together or 4. All you do is rewrite them. So now I'm going to have plus P, R, T. And really, guys, order doesn't matter, okay? Now I'm trying to solve for R, and that's all connected to P and T in this one term by multiplication. However, I have this P over here that I can move to the other side. It's just a number, so I'm going to subtract P from both sides. So now A and P, of course, we can't combine those. A minus P is what we're going to write. But then on the other side, the P's cancel out, and you're just left with this P, R, T, okay? Now, this is a little bit different than what we've done. It kind of is 2 steps at once, but we need R by itself, okay? We're still trying to get rid of this R or get that by itself. So what I need to do is divide by everything but R. So I'm going to divide this side by the P and the T, but then I also have to divide both of these by P and T. And guys, just a little blurb, this isn't about this problem, but say you had 2RSQ and you're solving for S, then you would divide by everything but else, because what happens is now, since I divided by it, everything cancels out but the variable I didn't divide by. So first I have A over PT. Nothing simplifies there, no numbers shared. But on the next part I have minus, well the P's cancel, and that leaves me 1 over T. Now this didn't cancel out quite the same as we had earlier. I had P over PT, but really when I cancel there's an imaginary 1 that's still there. Okay, so I put 1 over T, and that equals, well the P's cancel, the T's cancel, R. And there's your answer. Now I can see how that one's a little more confusing. Has the multiple variables we had to divide by, things like that. But, you know, one hard step, the rest of it was pretty easy. So if things like that are getting you, get as far as you can and then ask questions, okay? Let's go to the next one, number 4. Now this is another area, or this is an area formula. It looks like the area of a triangle, 1/2 base times height. It says that we're going to solve the equation for H. I want to make sure and mark that so I don't mess it up. But the thing I noticed about this one that I haven't seen yet is it's starting off with a fraction. And guys, I want to get rid of fractions first. So let me change to red here. I'm going to multiply both sides by something. And if you remember from the last few days, we've talked about multiplying by the denominator. So I'm going to multiply by 2. Well, on the left side, that gives me 2 times A, and that's 2A. That's pretty easy. But over here, it's 2 times all the 3 of these things that are already combined. So basically what happens is, just like before, the denominators cancel out with what I'm multiplying by, and leaves me 1BH or just BH. Now that looks a lot better already. All we did was multiply both sides by 2, and we're without fractions. Now the last thing I want to do is I need to solve for, it looks like we're solving for H. So H is attached to B through multiplication, so that means division. And I'm going to divide by everything that's not H. So B in this case. Well, 2A over B won't simplify, but BH over B, B's cancel, and leave me with H. Okay, so again, getting rid of fractions is the trick there, but after that, it's really simple and easy. You just have to be careful. All right, let's hit this last problem. And I know this is tough stuff, guys. If you can do this solving literal equations, though, it's going to make your life a lot easier. And I promise you, solving literal equations is all about practice. Maybe take the same equation and solve it again. I mean, don't just copy down what you had earlier. practice this stuff. This is really important for your future in algebra. If you want it to be easier, you've got to know this. Now the last one has a little something different. We're solving for t right here, but it's going to involve some distribution. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get that done first. On the side with 2s, there is no distribution, so we don't have to worry about it. But on the other side, I'm going to have to distribute n over a plus t. Well, n times a is just na. That's nice that it's variables there. Didn't have to worry about anything. And then plus n times t. So this variable stuff sometimes makes it easier. You don't even have to worry about real multiplication. Now our whole goal is to solve for t. Well, t is attached to n over here, but I notice there's no t involved with na, so I can subtract na to the other side. Well, 2s and na don't mix, so I'm going to have 2s minus na equals na minus na canceled and leaves us with nt. Now we've done this a couple of times today. We have n attached to t by multiplication, so we have to do the opposite, which is division, and I want t to stay, so n has to go. But I divide everything by n. Well, 2s over n, nothing's going to cancel, so I leave it the same. But I have minus, the n's cancel out, and I have an a left in the numerator. And then on the other side, the n's cancel, and I'm left with t, which is what I want. Now, I want you to notice something here. This part right here where we canceled is similar to what we did in number 3, except in number 3 we were left with 1 over t. Here we're left with a. When we did number 3, the top canceled out. On this one, the bottom canceled out completely. So just be careful. Practice these guys. Ask questions. Getting this down does not take a lot, and kids who do it now will be happy later when they see the kind of stuff we're doing in the chapters, okay? So good luck. If you have any questions, just let me know.